miles from here, Birmingham. Martin here, Astrid, John, Malcolm, and that's Bridget and Ian from Amnesty International Whistle. We tried to get 2 more groups, but they couldn't come. Okay. It's exactly the words that Amnesty wants us to say. So this is the press release, which is for everybody. That's why we're allowed to use it. From 7th of February this year, 2023. India. JCB bulldozers being used in house demolitions in Kashmir. Numerous demolitions taking place in Jammu and Kashmir, India's only Muslim majority region. Bulldozers destroying homes despite many residents providing proof of ownership. No one should be made homeless or vulnerable to other human rights violations because of evictions. That's Akash Patel from Amnesty India. UK construction equipment giant JCB's bulldozers are being used in house demolitions in Jammu and Kashmir in India, with Amnesty International describing the ongoing evictions and demolitions as a gross violation of human rights. Peter Frankenthal, Amnesty International UK's Economic Affairs Director, said, JCB should be horrified that their equipment is being used in some of these demolitions. They must take active steps to prevent this. At the very least, JCB should use their dealer and customer contracts and their diagnostic technology to prevent such misuse, including by decommissioning machines remotely where possible. If JCB fails to act over Kashmir, it would be another example of the company falling short of its obligation to conduct proper human rights due diligence over how its machines are being used around the world, and they mean Palestine. Demolition of homes. During 4th, 5th February, the district, municipal, corporation and state revenue authorities, in collaboration with the police, demolished the homes and properties of residents in at least 4 districts of Jammu and Kashmir: Srinagar, Budgam, Anantnag and Baramulla. According to media reports, several residents say they did not receive prior notification from the local authorities. Many also said they possess documents proving ownership of their properties, but the authorities denied them the opportunity to present their claims before bulldozers destroyed their homes. Akash Patel, Amnesty International India's chair, said, the ongoing demolitions appear to be an extension of the brutal human rights violations the region of Jammu and Kashmir, the only Muslim majority region of India, has historically witnessed. These demolitions could amount to forced evictions, which constitute a gross violation of human rights. No one should be made homeless or vulnerable to other human rights violations because of evictions. The Indian authorities must immediately halt the demolition drive. They must offer adequate compensation to all those affected without discrimination, ensure that victims of forced evictions have access to effective remedy, and those responsible are held to account. Do you want the JCB in the occupied Palestinian territories? Oh, it's only two paragraphs.
Amnesty is a big organisation, so even when it struggles to get media coverage, as Stuart is saying, it nonetheless has a lot of people involved. So there are 10 million members across the world and 250,000 nearly in the UK. And if all these people could speak out on violations, human rights violations, which, let's face it, are horrible. I mean, this is horrible to have your home demolished against your will, without warning, without any recognition of your rights. To get this number of people to speak out, that would be good. And Amnesty is running a a campaign nationally now in the UK to promote this issue and raise awareness. But we do need other groups and organisations to join forces with us so that we can build up the profile and the momentum and the visibility of this cause in order to overcome the reluctance of some of the media and some areas of government, if not all of government, and so on. And JCB is just one feature of this. JCB is owned by Lord Bamford. He's a member of the House of Lords of the United Kingdom. He's there to uphold the law. He's there to represent the interests of the people of the UK.
And he never attends, apparently. He's never in Parliament.
Well, if he's never in Parliament, then he's not doing his job. He's doing this instead. Well, I'd rather he went to Parliament than went to Kashmir. And he's a figure, a public figure. He's close to the Conservative government. That's incidental. It could be close to any government. It doesn't really matter. The point is that his company is providing the machinery that's doing this awful work, and that's why we, Stop the War and others, need other groups and organisations to stand up alongside Amnesty. And just to add finally that Amnesty's reports, Amnesty's research is thorough. It's not made up of emotions. It's properly researched and documented records of what's going on. And the more we read of it, the more we're horrified.
Thank you.
Birmingham Stop the War Coalition. I want to praise Amnesty for speaking out on issues which are regarded as problematic. It's very difficult.
A reasonable and serious discussion on Kashmir and Palestine without being accused of some sort of anti-Semitic racism. I've read this publication from Amnesty on the apartheid state, and I think it's very important that they've said that, because it evoked memories of the brutal apartheid in the 70s, 80s in South Africa. But I'd also like to congratulate them for producing this report on Kashmir. It is very characteristic of the British media to completely ignore the Kashmir issue, to say nothing about human rights violations. They're very keen on, and they're correct to publicise the human rights violations in the brutal treatment of women in Iran, but they're totally silent on the colonial and repressive attitude of the Indian authorities in Kashmir. And therefore I'd like to thank Amnesty International for breaking that silence. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?